The Premier League is back. We have, along with that then, our predictions video. We did one last year. Overall, we did pretty well. We got the 3 relegated teams, which I was pretty gassed about. And we had at least 3 teams that are absolute stinkers. And over here, we have the table. It's all blanked out. Before we jump into it though, if you are new to the channel, then do me the favour of liking and subscribing. Even if you're not, just check that you are. Press the little red button. Wonderful. It does the world of good. And do it now, before I offend you or the team that you support. Pop in the comments who you think's going to be top 4 and relegated. I'm intrigued to see what other people think. We're going to kick off with 11th. It is Brighton. They haven't really made any signings. They performed pretty well last season. Not far from Europe, but they have lost one of their, 2 of their best players actually, with Basuma and Cucurella. Probably pronounced that wrong. And they've not really replaced him. They've brought in Levy Colwill from Chelsea, who's all right, and just a few other players that I'm going to level. Never heard of them. So, they have still got the magic of Potter at the helm, but I think they are going to slip down a little bit. I don't think they're at any contention for relegation, though. In 12th, we have Leicester. Maybe a controversial one, but they're losing players. That's all they're doing. They haven't brought anyone in yet. Their manager's good. Obviously, we know that. And the team, brilliant 5 or 6 years ago. Fantastic. But there's just no fresh legs, no fresh blood coming in. So unless they do start signing people, they're going to be struggling, especially if they lose the likes of Maddison and Tielemans. Then they may very well be even further down this list. 13th, we have Brentford. Same position they finished last year. They may have a little dabble of that second season syndrome, but I don't think there'll be much danger in getting relegated. Signing a few really decent players, Strakosha, Hickey, Lewis Potter. They've still got the wonderful Ivan Toney up top as well, so hopefully he can bag many, many goals. In 14th, I have got Everton. I don't think they'll be in their relegation scrap that they were last year. However, I don't think or believe in their whole team, to be quite honest. I think Frank, he's a little bit out of his depth. I just think he is. Tarkowski, McNeil, Vinegre, probably not how you pronounce. Decent signings though, to be fair. But they have lost a few strong players. Richarlison's going out. And that's about it, to be fair. But how much is Richarlison's loss going to punish them? In 15th, I've got Crystal Palace. We're getting closer to that relegation thing. I think they may be in for a little tiny bit of a scrap. But I don't think they'll be going down. A few signings, no one really amazing. Chris Richards looks all right. But as I say, he's not going to have had much game time at Bayern Munich. I haven't actually checked this, but I expect he hasn't because they're Bayern Munich. Find out he's played 50 games a season now. We didn't have the usual Zaha circus of I want to leave, I'll get me out of here, alright, I'll stay and I'll sign a new contract. So, Palace, 15th. However, I do rate Patrick Vieira, so if they are higher up the table, then fair play to them. In 16th, we've got the other Richards. It's Omar Richards, also from Bayern Munich. I can only assume they're related. They may not be. They've made some decent signings. Another German defender. I don't know if Richards is a defender for them, actually. Musa Niakate. He looks pretty good. Aurel Mangala's good. Lingard, good. Toffolo's good. Dean Henderson, goalkeeper. Madness. I think they've made some brilliant signings. But have they done a Fulham? Hopefully not for them. I like the players that they've signed, and it doesn't seem that they've just signed big name players. Manager's pretty good as well. I'm surprised they didn't try and loan back Jed Spence as well, but maybe Spurs are actually going to squeeze him into their first team. 17th, and the last of the safe teams, I've got Leeds United. They've gone through a few decent players. Aronson and Christensen from Salzburg, both pretty decent. Tyler Adams, again, pretty good. They've just gone to Red Bull and just rinsed them. It's that Jesse Marsh thing. I don't know if I'm sold on Jesse Marsh. Got to be honest. We'll see how it plays out. I think they'll be safe. And 18th, and the first of the relegation spots, is Fulham. I actually think they've signed some decent players. Pereira, Solomon and Babu, Leno. But we all know the rules of the Premier League and Championship over the last 5 or 6 seasons. Fulham go down, Norwich come up, and then the following season, you just rotate it. So Fulham are going to do their part and get themselves relegated once more. Other than that, I think they could stay safe, but I just don't know at the expense of what team. There's a lot of very decent lower level Premier League teams at the moment. 19th, and one that I'm confident to say are going to get relegated. He says unconfidently. Southampton. I don't see it. They reminded me a lot of the Villa team of like kind of the mid to late 10s. When we were just hanging on. We were just hanging on at the coattails of the Premier League, just hoping that we wouldn't get shook off. And then it did eventually happen. A few decent signings from him, though. Bola Ketchup and Bazunu looked like they could do good jobs for him. But I don't think it's going to be enough. And 20th, bottom of the league, I've got Bournemouth. I don't think they're strong enough. They've only made 3 signings at the moment in Fredericks, Rothwell and Tavernier. Neither of those scream kind of, I'm going to keep you in the Premier League. And kind of actual player-wise that they've got. I know Solanke did a madness in the Championship, but can he convert that to the Premiership? He may have just found his level as a good Championship striker. But I think, our bottom 3 of Bournemouth, Fulham, Southampton, I think they're the 3 that are most likely going down this year. 10th place, moving on up the table. I've got Wolves. They finished 10th last year. I think they're finishing 10th this year. And to be quite honest, they've signed one player. Nathan Collins is pretty decent. They've lost quite a few. Whether they're important or not, different matter. But I'm not seeing much from them at the moment. They're not the Wolves that were pushing for Europe when they first came up. They just seem to be a little bit stagnant. So maybe they need a shake-up. In what position? I don't really know. But 10th place, I think is good for them. They may even start slipping down into that lower mid-table sort of bracket. 9th place, we have the wonderful Villa. I overestimated them last year, and I may have done the same again, maybe slightly skewed by the fact that I'm a Villa fan. But the permanent signing of Coutinho, Kamara, Carlos, and Augustinsson, all decent signings. Robin Olsen as a backup, should Martinez get injured, which, for God's sake, I hope he doesn't. All decent. And then we've got like a full year under the reign of Steven Gerrard, providing it doesn't go horrifically and we just sack him. In 8th place, just outside those European positions, we've got West Ham. I do like the signing of that Scamacca. 6'5", bit of a unit, but I worry that the next team up are just going to be getting too strong and they're just going to be starting forcing everyone down. Hopefully it's not, but realistically, it's probably going to happen. 8th place for West Ham. Hopefully they can have themselves another decent run in Europe. 7th place, I've got Newcastle. Brilliant signings, to be fair. The signings of Pope and Botman, fantastic manager in Eddie Howe. What he's done with Joel Linton is just a joke. So I think they're going to start creeping up. And on top of that, I'm taking an assumption that they're going to be ridiculous for the remainder of this transfer window and sign like Messi and Ronaldo and Neymar and all this gaff. So I've got them in 7th. 6th place, following their amazing campaign last year, getting Champions League football, I've got Spurs. I am not saying it as I don't think Spurs are good enough. I'm just saying it that they might struggle having those extra games and demands that Champions League football give them. I think they'll still get Europe next year, but it might just drop down into Europa League so they can get used to kind of that extra games and then bump themselves back up. But signings, Richarlison, Bissouma, Longley, Spence even, maybe not for now, but long term, and Ivan Perisic. Keep forgetting they've signed him. They've signed a lot of pretty strong players there. So I think they'll do well. I think I may be underestimating them. In 5th place, I've got Arsenal. I know that they also are going from no European football into European football. I think they'll maintain their 5th place from last year. Just mainly, I don't know. I've just got good vibes from them, which I hate because I really dislike Arsenal. But Zinchenko and Jesus and Marquinhos, Fabio Vieira, all pretty decent signings. They've got a good young squad as it is that's only going to improve year on year. And what is it? Trust the process. In 4th place, I've got the team I vastly overestimated last year, and I said they'd win the league. I'm going to rein that back a little bit. I've got Man U. I do think they'll get Champions League football. I think they'll get European football, definitely. But Champions League, Ten Hag is a bit of a madness. They've made a few decent signings. And hopefully the Ten Hag kind of recruitment, it's not the word, appointment, will wake up Harry Maguire and he'll stop being so sulky and kicking his teammate. But yeah, their lines, I think they'll do pretty goddamn good, Man U. They've lost their backup goalkeeper, so does that mean that De Gea is going to go back to just being a fish with gloves on? Because he only seems to perform when he's got someone that he needs to keep out of the team. Malacia, Eriksen, Martinez, and more on the horizon for Man U. I think they'll do good, push themselves into Europe at the very least, and I'm getting them for Champions League football. In third place, I've got last year's third place, and I believe the team I predicted in third place, Chelsea. Not that I don't think that they are good enough to challenge. I just don't think that Liverpool or Man City are going to drop off from where they did. So if Chelsea just kick up another level, then yeah, maybe they can get into that shout. Signings of Sterling, Koulibaly, and Cucurella to a degree, they can help the team step onto that next level. Obviously, they've lost Lukaku, but could that end up being a good thing? I think it will, to be quite honest. Runners up, into the nitty-gritty of it, I think Liverpool. They've not made too many signings. Two kind of youngsters in the way of Carvalho and Ramsey. Nunez, also a youngster, but he's also kind of proven. I don't think it's against what Liverpool are going to do. I just think what Man City have already done and their signings they've made they're just going to make them stronger and stronger and stronger. So, Nunez will do good, but not a shade on what Haaland's going to do. Probably going to regret that. And in first place, we've got our winners for the 57th year running, it's starting to feel like. I've got Man City. They've pulled out one of the signings of the season here already. I think every club in Europe was interested in this guy, chasing him. And they've managed to do the blockbuster signing here of Calvin Phillips. I wasn't surprised. I thought that they had a chance for it. Didn't think they'd be able to pull it through. So, fair play to them. They've also signed that Alf-Inge Haaland's son. I've heard he's quite good. He might score a few for him. And also some fella called Stefan Ortega Moreno, who I'm going to level with you. Never heard before. They've lost a few players in the way of Jesus and Sterling, Zinchenko, but it's Man City. They've got squad depth for days. They could lose about 30 players and still have an 11 that could win the league. Yeah, I think their eyes are more towards Champions League now. What do you think? I've got the 20 teams revealed now in their full splendour, and I would like to know what you think about it. So what I did, I had all the teams put into like a little rough order of where I think they'd be, and pretty much from 9th all the way down to 15th. It was just a big block. I honestly don't know which order they could have gone in. I can't really see 15th down to 18th getting relegated. I think all of those have got their merit, but obviously at least one of them does need to join Southampton and Bournemouth in the Championship next year. This needs to be taken with a slight pinch of salt because there is still basically a month of the transfer window left where any sort of madness can go on. If you have enjoyed, then do me the favour, like and subscribing. That would be beautiful. If you've enjoyed my stupid face and annoying voice, then there'll be some items just in front of my hands. Make sure you scoot over to the channel to watch some of the FM saves that we've got going on. And Football 1 Manager will be out pretty shortly.